Since Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows were revealed, we've been saying that we thought that Ubisoft was going to face a lot of problems going forward because those two games are the ones that they are relying on to make a lot of money, but they've cost, as far as we're aware, over $400 million for development, and now we're seeing even more problems for Ubisoft arise because Ubisoft's slump is continuing as allegedly the sales for Outlaws are pretty bad. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I've been saying for a long time now, I think Ubisoft is in trouble. They have had so many games either delayed or rushed out. Star Wars Outlaws is a game that needed at least another year to cook. It needed more development time because it's so buggy and glitchy. I've reached so many game-breaking bugs, it's crazy. Then, of course, we have the upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows that's faced backlash not only from Western gamers, but Japanese gamers as well for their portrayal of Yasuke, and basically how it's a giant fan fiction because in real life he was more of a retainer than a full-blown samurai. And they've had other games that have been releasing or delayed that all paint a very negative picture for them. This is a PC Gamer article. I personally usually don't like PC Gamer, but they have the information that we need. It says the launch of Star Wars Outlaws should have been a triumph for Ubisoft, a milestone moment heralding a turnaround in the company's fortunes. Actual gamers have been saying since the reveal that this was probably going to be a flop because while Star Wars can be really great regarding the video games, it never looked like it was going to be another Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor or Knights of the Old Republic. It did not look like it was going to be the experience that everybody wanted, and it isn't. It launched, it's buggy, it's broken, people are pointing and laughing at this nightmare, and to top all of that off, they never really had a clear audience for it because it's rated T for teen, but all of the trailers don't make it appear that way. The trailers truly make it seem like, oh, you're going to be able to beat up and intimidate the other smugglers and the bad guys, and you're going to have this reputation system, but instead, it's basically just a T for teen game, which is fine because it is T for teen, but on the flip side, games like Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order are also teen, and they are fantastic experiences. This isn't. It says Outlaws has been generally well received by critics, but sales don't appear to be meeting initial expectations, and instead of seeing a surge, Ubisoft's share prices has tumbled following the game's release to its lowest mark since 2014. Ubisoft has been banking heavily on Star Wars Outlaws. They said in their most recent financial report that the game was not only praised by players and critics alike, but also highlighted the cutting-edge capabilities of their game engines, in this case Snowdrop, and that is a complete and utter lie. It did not highlight the cutting-edge capabilities because this looks like a game that came out a freaking decade ago. But to top all of that off, it's not being praised by players. It's got a 4.2 on Metacritic. That is not a good score. So this is a massive disaster for them. And we're also hearing a Reuters report saying sales of Star Wars Outlaws are sluggish, quoting a JP Morgan analyst, Daniel Kervin, as saying that the game, quote, has struggled to meet our sales expectations despite positive critical reviews. This is why you do not trust critics, because critics may rate something amazing, but gamers are not, and gamers are the ones that matter. You are talking about millions of people. You need to show up to buy your product. Companies need to get with the program and start listening to the people who are actually supposed to be purchasing their products, and maybe they'll turn around and going forward start listening to us. I highly doubt it, because this isn't the only game that they've had problems with. Also, XDefiant. Rumors are that XDefiant is doing extremely poorly for them, that they really thought that it was going to be a smashing success. Initially, they were calling it the Call of Duty killer, but they delayed it, and it came out 2 years after when they initially planned, and then they announced like 3 weeks before launch, oh, by the way, guys, this is launching, as if that was going to work. And, well, It didn't. I personally was disappointed with it. I had played like the betas previously, but the time to kill was, increased. I felt that they didn't add enough guns. They said that they were going to add more equipment and stuff, and they just didn't end up doing that. And ever since launch, I haven't heard of any major updates. I played it when it released, I gave it a chance, but I just wasn't happy with the experience. I would have gone back if they added more. And now, of course, we have to deal with delays like the Sands of Time, Beyond Good and Evil 2 titles we've been waiting in some cases over a decade for, and they have to deal with Assassin's Creed Shadows in November. It was a very bad idea for them to release both of these games in the same year, because right now, just between those two games, we're talking, according to reports, over $300 million in development costs. Never mind the other titles that haven't released, like Beyond Good and Evil 2 and The Sands of Time. They are facing a major disaster right now, and that is why investors are not happy. That's why their share prices are sitting at a 10-year low, because Star Wars Outlaws isn't doing as good as they expected, and at the end of the year, they also are going to have another major game releasing, and that means 2024 may lose them hundreds of millions of dollars with these three major releases that just haven't gone good. And never mind Skull and Bones in February. They're quadruple A disaster. That, again, is like another 100 million budget roughly on top of that. So we're actually talking like over $500 million probably wasted this year, because according to reports, that game didn't even sell over 50,000 copies. So things are not going well for Ubisoft this year. Am I shocked to hear this? No. This is what happens when you don't listen to the very people you need to keep you in business. And Star Wars Outlaws has Ubisoft's biggest marketing budget ever. So you would think that they would have really tried to make sure that this game was as sound as possible, that it wasn't buggy, it wasn't glitchy, the world felt alive and rich, and it just doesn't. It is such a major disappointment. It's broken half the time. It doesn't look good. It's an open world game that's just open world, so Ubisoft can say it's open world. It's just empty, and it's a disaster. X-Defiant also was a disappointment, and going forward, I don't see any products that I'm personally excited for they're supposedly releasing, even if they've been delayed 80 million times, like The Sands of Time or Beyond Good and Evil 2. So right now, Ubisoft's share price is sitting at a 10-year low. Apparently, Star Wars Outlaws is selling extremely poorly, and it looks like Ubisoft is in for a lot of money lost this year. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.